Your Sports 1140 KHTK update. Brought to you by J.R. Putman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Oh, good morning and a very happy Tuesday to you. This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got out to an 11-point lead in the first quarter, but it was all Timberwolves the rest of the way as they downed the Kings 112-105 in Minnesota. Marvin Bagley got the start and answered with 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks. The rest of the Kings struggled for most of the night. De'Aaron Fox and Bogdan Bogdanovic were combined 11 of 37 from the field, while Willie Cauley-Stein had 4 points and 5 fouls in just 13 minutes. On the other side, Karl Anthony Towns had a monster 34-point, 21-rebound, 5-assist performance to lead the way for Minnesota. The Kings are off tonight. They return home tomorrow to take on the Milwaukee Bucks at the Golden One Center. The good news for the Kings is the Lakers fell to the Grizzlies 110-105, and the Spurs lost to the Nets 101-85. Sacramento remains a game behind the Spurs for a playoff spot. The Clippers' 121-112 win over the Mavs moved them to 2 games up on the Kings into the number 7 seed. Sacramento still 2 games up on the Lakers and 2 games in front of the Timberwolves. And the Rockets beat the Hawks 119-111 last night, but James Harden's streak of 30-point games came to an end. He had 28. He was 0 of 10 from 3-point range. It's 6:01. If you have been injured at work, call the law offices of Doug Moreno at 916-564-4000 for a free consultation.
About to witness the strength of street knowledge.
This program is for mature audiences only.
Hey now!
Please have your fake ID ready.
Get out of bed, you lazy
We found the only way to start the day. Get on the go with radio. We like to use it for household music. The daily chores are never a bore. For weather information, this is the station.
3, 2, 1.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead!
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Well, Kyle, it might just be you and me today. Judging by social media last night, it might just be you and me.
Well, what happened last night?
I don't know if you heard. Kings lost. Kings lost to Minnesota, and now that's it. That's a wrap. It's a wrap on the year.
Season's over.
Season's over. Season's over. People checked out. They moved on to baseball. So today
I'm actually more of an AAF fan now.
Are you? Is that what's happening? Do a long preview today. A's, maybe some Giants. Who's your favorite in the AL East? 339-1140.
It's got to be Boston.
Uh-huh. Ooh, with great playoff push comes great emotion amongst people.
The high after the OKC win was so high.
Wow, dude. Okay. Don't need to share that.
The peak that was hit after the OKC win was like the Kings clinched their playoff spot.
Right. It was over.
It was all caps, huge win, da-da-da-da-da. And it was a big win.
Huge win.
But there's a reason you don't peak, because then you valley. When they lose a game, it was very losable.
This is very seesaw year emotionally.
It's unreal. And if they happen to come home and beat Milwaukee, the best team in the league,
it's over.
It's the playoff team. I don't know how they.
We're pushing for 6. Take on the Thunder in the first round. They lose to Milwaukee.
Who they would be the favorites in the first round because they beat the Thunder
easily. Yeah. Well, we got a lot to get to there. Why were you making? You were making. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Drive. I'm Dave. That's Kyle. J. Mars in the back. Matt George in the other room. We might turn on some microphones today. Have a little, how about round table?
Yeah, I think we need that.
A little straight line table. So I want everybody sitting in a row. I want a round table.
That's fine.
It's overused. 800-920-1140. 44-1140. Why are you making people mad on the internet, dude?
Because I have the audacity to have opinions about the NFL draft.
The Audacity of Opinions. That was a good book.
I think that's the title of today's show.
Is that the audacity of it? So what did you do to make people angry? That's my job.
So this is I do my stuff with the Niners Wire, and the NFL Combine opens today.
Uh-huh.
And so I do a podcast with the Sacramento Bees 49ers beat writer Chris Biederman. It's a buddy of mine.
Chris Biederman.
So we do this 49ers podcast, and we did a very brief draft overview.
Okay.
Because the 49ers have the number 2 pick, and we just kind of went over the basic implications of that number 2 pick, some players they might consider there. Would they trade back? It was such a just not throwaway conversation, but preliminary conversation about a draft that neither he nor I has delved that far into.
Sure. Very fair.
And this guy responds.
Some guy.
Because NFL Draft Twitter is low-key one of the worst versions of that medium.
Worse than King's Twitter.
And this guy says that we're morons and there's only one player the 49ers are going to take with the number 2 pick. And we should have talked about 6th and 7th round picks instead.
Okay.
Because it's so obvious who they're going to draft in the early parts of the draft.
So
and so he called us morons for nothing. And then he went in on Chris and said a lot of really disparaging, not true things about him.
Guy said bad things on the internet about somebody.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yes. So this is brand new.
Breaking.
Usually the internet's a really nice place.
Very nice.
But no, I guess the issue I had is that because then I told this guy hey, you're being a jerk, and he goes, "Oh, I thought this was a place for discussion. You elitist media people think that you know everything."
Yeah. Find the lie.
And I just thought that was very weird. Don't come at somebody calling them all sorts of mean names and then expect to want to have a discussion with them.
Right, and then you're sensitive. You can't take the truth.
Uh-huh.
If the heat's too hot, get out of the kitchen. Yeah. Or when you give them attention, it's oh, dude, I'm joking. I'm a huge fan.
Yes.
That's actually my personal favorite.
Just don't be mean to people. This doesn't even stop. Like anybody listening, it's I'm not on Twitter. This doesn't apply to me. No, just in life.
Just don't be mean.
Don't be mean to people. If someone's being mean, all right, be mean back. 2 wrongs make a right. We know that.
I'm the same way. If somebody's mean to me, I'll be mean back. Otherwise, I'll rarely be mean. It's going to be this kind of day, Kyle, by the way.
Oh, give it to me.
Jiffy Lube text line from the 916. I'm a diehard fan of the Kings. I'm so sick of listening to these other, quote, diehard fans so quick to say Dave Yeager needs to be let go and that he has a vendetta against Buddy. Truth is, we couldn't stop Karl Anthony Towns. Soon these, quote, diehards will say we're 0-2 when Bagley starts. Very next text. Dave Yeager is a stubborn ass. It's going to be that kind of day. Oh, it's going to be that kind of day. It's also going to be very rainy.
You know who we can all agree is really great?
Who?
Vince Harris.
Vince Harris is amazing.
Yeah, it's time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, at 916-923-5050. That's 916-923-5050.
We also have our resident unhinged texter who texted in the middle of the night last night. This is the one that's always just every 5
This poop
days.
guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just every few days just shows up and is just off hinge.
You know the Leroy Jenkins video?
Leroy Jenkins.
He's that guy, but the text line.
But with the text line, he just goes right in. He's very mad that Katie isn't doing road games this year. Very mad at Katie. Got to do road games.
She's busy hunting Katie's.
Yes. Yeah, Case had a baby, so I'm going to forgive her for that. Besides, last year was like I think the 1 year she did road games. It's not a normal thing. Relax. Freaking relax, everybody. That's going to be the theme to today's show. Just relax. Aaron Rodgers style. Just relax. Okay? Relax. Calm down. Doesn't mean last night's loss was great. Doesn't mean we can't bitch at it. Doesn't mean we don't have complaints. Doesn't mean we don't have criticisms.
This season is so weird.
It really is.
2 weeks ago, I was talking you off a ledge because you were worried about the meteor that was going to hit the Kings season. And then last night, it was you trying to talk people off
the ledge.
Thinking a meteor just hit the Kings season.
2 weeks ago, I got destroyed both on this show and on the internet for being negative poopy pants Dave, who's always bringing everyone down. Last night, I got destroyed on the internet for being, in fact, one guy literally said, I'll read it later, sent me a message saying, if you really want the Kings to turn the corner, you need to stop being such a homer. Which I thought was amazing. Like, I did not realize I had that power over the team.
If that's all it takes, I'm stop,
homer, right?
Dude.
I'm a homer now. It's happened.
Does it? You're on the Kings payroll. We all know this.
All know it.
They sign the checks.
Big checks. Big checks even. And we'll take a break. When we come back, I will do my Kings paid content for the day. Buddy Hield sat last night in the end of the fourth quarter. Marvin Bagley started. Karl Anthony Towns abused Willie Cauley-Stein all over Minnesota.
Corey Brewer played way too many minutes.
Corey Brewer played a lot of minutes. Now, did he play way too many? That's a discussion we need to have. Dave Yeager doesn't like anybody, and everything sucks. Everything's stupid, and it's a great way to start a Tuesday. Everything is stupid.
I love basketball.
Love basketball. We'll get into all that. It is a Kingsaholics Anonymous official meeting, Tuesday, February 26th, year of our Lord, 2019, and it starts next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
You're amazing. Welcome back to The Drive.
It's just my job.
It's time for the Morning Brew. Now, here's Carmichael Dave.
6 turnovers in this quarter. That has not helped them. But that speaks to the intense defense. And there's another turnover. Knocked away. On the run out, Karl Anthony Towns with a windmill. Throws it down vigorously. Timberwolves fans are excited, and why not? They now lead 45-39. Timeout taken by Dave Yeager.
Karl Anthony Towns, man. There's just no answer for him last night. 34 points, 21 boards, 5 assists, 13 of 18. 3 3-pointers, by the way, 3 of 6 from behind the arc. He's really, really good. And, of course, let me say this. I hope every player is healthy, especially when it's a head issue. And I'm very glad to see that he's back healthy from his concussion after what sounded like and what he described as a very scary car accident where he said he was lucky to be alive. So I don't want to screw around about that. It just happens to be the Kings' dumb luck that he came back against them. And I'm happy that he's healthy, and I'm happy that he's good, and I'm happy that he excelled. I'm just not happy.
You couldn't have taken one day off.
Right. You know, God.
Like just a good mental health day after.
Just do what you got to do, man. 34 and 21. Go ahead.
That was one of those games because I feel like I forget sometimes how good Karl Anthony Towns is.
He's
because he
really
plays for
good.
Minnesota.
Yep.
And they're the Timberwolves. Like,
They
you don't
have
pay
that
that close
rep
of
of
attention.
being kind of soft.
Yeah.
You know, he and
Yes.
Andrew Wiggins.
Some of the plays he made last night were
Amazing.
incredible.
You just look at it, and that's why I'm a little hesitant. Because Willie Cauley-Stein was garbage last night.
Really bad.
Garbage.
Minus 20 in 13 minutes is actually impressive.
Right. It's like when Baxter ate the whole wheel of cheese. Like, I'm not even mad. But I it's like I want to throw the punch, but I also want to hold back a little because it was Karl Anthony Towns. And Willie had 5 fouls. Giles had 5 fouls. They had to put Kosta Koufis in. No disrespect to Kosta, but they had to put him in for a little bit just so they didn't foul these guys out in situations. So, yeah, Willie was garbage, and Willie generally gets used by Anthony Towns, but Karl Anthony Towns is just very, very good. 4
points, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 5 fouls.
He had 4 more fouls than he had rebounds. He also, though, to be honest, had 1 more rebound last night than Matt George.
Really good point.
Okay. We'll get into that. We'll get into Harrison Barnes, and obviously we will get into Buddy Hield once again for the second time in 3 games. That seems to be what fans are focusing on. Buddy Hield sitting much of the fourth quarter last night. We'll talk about that. I thought you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
No.
No? Okay. That's always best.
Brew number 2.
Brew number 2.
Pick up LeBron with a minute to play. LeBron all the way. Spinning. Count it. Foul. LeBron can bring the Lakers even closer.
Narrator. He didn't. He did not bring the Lakers even closer. So that was the good news for the Kings. 1 of 2 pieces of good news last night. The Lakers lost. The Lakers lost to Minnesota. And Kyle just scared me with something off air, and I can't share why. And the Lakers lose 110-105 in Memphis. What is what is significant about that game from a again, Kyle words here, from a macro point of view, is LeBron James moves into the top 10 all-time in assists, top 5 points, top 10 assists.
He's going to finish top 7 in both.
Absolutely. He's going to be top 7 by the end of next year, barring injury. I was looking at it. He'll be number 7 next year, barring injury. At the pace he's at right now, he will be
ridiculous.
Number 7 next year. He has an outside chance to be the all-time leader in scoring, depending on how long he plays and obviously how what his output is. But I think when it's all said and done, he's got a chance at being top 5 in both.
Yeah. It's an outside chance.
It's a very outside chance, especially on the assist side. I think scoring he'll be there. But, dude. Yeah. And I'm curious as to where he is in rebounds.
I made the mistake of tweeting that's a ridiculous thing that he's 10th in assists and 5th in points.
Oh, God.
I was told by MJ people that assists don't matter.
No.
It's easier to get stats now.
Yes.
Stats don't matter.
No. Anybody say it was? Did anybody though say that it was all about the rings?
Yes.
Oh.
Somebody said he also has the worst record in the finals, and I said that's wrong. Jerry West was 1-8, and they said no. Jerry West's era doesn't count.
Oh.
So
that's right.
If you take out all the things LeBron is good at, he's a terrible player.
He really is. And
he's only been to the finals 9 times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. He's a big loser is what he is.
It's trash.
It's all Nike marketing.
Russell caught it, thought about a deep 3. Cross-court, Napier 3, and it's good. From the break of the arc on the right side, Shabazz Napier with the 17th net 3 of the game.
The San Antonio Spurs used to take what's called the Rodeo Road Trip, and well, they still do. They just finished it up. Rodeo Road Trip used to be almost a yearly occasion where when they returned after usually going like 8-1 on the trip, that's when they would lock in and just destroy everybody the rest of the way and either win the finals or get very, very close. That was always a marker as to when Pop and friends would turn it on. This did not work. not this year. Spurs fall to the Nets 101-85. The Rodeo Road Trip, Kyle, started in Sacramento, as a matter of fact.
With an L.
Think about that.
February 4th.
Yeah, that was almost a month ago. They played a grand total, Kyle, of 8 games. They went 1-7.
Oh.
1-7 on this trip. They finished up, obviously, with that loss to the Nets. Why is that significant? Because that saved a little bit of the Kings' bacon there. The Kings still tied in the loss column with the Spurs. So the Lakers and Spurs do not gain any ground on the losing Kings last night.
That's an important thing. That a lot of the sentiment was, gosh, this is a blown opportunity. They could have gained that game on the Spurs. But the fact is even after last night's loss, they're as close to a playoff spot now as they were yesterday.
Seriously. You're absolutely correct. By the way, Brooklyn Nets take on the Sacramento Kings out here, just to understand a little bit of the future. That's March 19th, and we'll get into that schedule. Kings play the best team in the East coming up tomorrow, and then things open up a little bit. And we'll get into that. Highlights first from last night, or lowlights if you want to say. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Now, your Sports 1140 KHTK update. Brought to you by J.R. Putman Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
This is Kyle Madsen with what's called a sports update on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got out to an 11-point lead in the first quarter last night, but it was all Timberwolves the rest of the way as they downed the Kings 112-105.
Angry kid.
Marvin Bagley got the start and answered with 25 points, 11 boards, and 2 blocks. The rest of the Kings struggled, though, including De'Aaron Fox and Bogdan Bogdanovic, who were combined 11 of 37 from the field. Willie Cauley-Stein, he had 4 points and 5 fouls in just 13 minutes. The Kings are off tonight. They return home tomorrow to take on the Milwaukee Bucks at the Golden One Center. The good news for the Kings is the Lakers fell to the Grizzlies 110-105, and the Spurs lost to the Nets 101-85. So Sacramento remains a game behind the Spurs for a playoff spot. The Clippers 121-112 win over the Mavericks moved them to 2 games up on the Kings into the number 7 seed. Sacramento still 2 games ahead of the Lakers and 2 games in front of the Timberwolves. Then the Rockets beat the Hawks 119-111, but James Harden's streak of 30-point games came to an end. He had 28 and was 0 of 10 from 3-point range. It's 6:31. If you have been injured at work, call the law offices of Doug Moreno at 916-564-4000 for a free consultation. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Professional, concise, and always on topic. 3 things you won't think of with the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Now decides to drive it to the right, squares up, goes high window, no good, stick back, a vicious stick back by Harry Giles off the bounce. Offensive rebound, second chance hoop there, and the lead's back to 5 at 18-13. Very alert play by Harry Giles off the Bagley miss. Derrick Rose drives against Bogdan Bogdanovic, circles underneath the basket. Great defense and a block shot by Bogey. The first block of the game for the Kings. Minnesota has 3 blocks in the early going. In transition, Bogey in 3-point range. Defensive switch. Jones picks him up, screened by Bagley. Bogey rolls right between the legs. Bounce pass goes to Bagley and he scores. How about that sequence? Defensively, Bogdan Bogdanovic with a block, and then a between the legs, no-look bounce pass to Bagley for the bucket, and that's your Pettis brothers moment of the game.
That's right, your Peckus Brothers, a moment of the game. Get the backyard you've always wanted, beautiful patios, and so much more. The best price, the best value, guaranteed. Yes, Kyle?
There's a phone call for you.
There is. Did you screen it? Or?
Yeah, it's screened, and I sent it over to you. Let's see who it is.
Okay, hello? Hello?
I know who this is.
Who? Oh. It's the Peckus Brothers. God, I should have known.
That's a classic Petkus Brothers bit where they call and then don't say anything.
They didn't say anything at all. A little shy. Not shy with the work they do in your backyard, though. Karl Anthony Towns wasn't shy last night from beyond the arc.
It's 39-36, and Anthony Towns is going to try to tie it up, and he does. My goodness. Sacramento has just been so disappointing in the last 3 minutes of this second quarter. Turnovers have been killer. They've turned it over 5 times in the first 5.5 minutes of this quarter.
He can hit from outside. He can dunk it inside.
6 turnovers in this quarter. That has not helped them. But that speaks to the intense defense. And there's another turnover. Knocked away. On the run out, Karl Anthony Towns with a windmill. Throws it down vigorously. Timberwolves fans are excited, and why not? They now lead 45-39. Timeout taken by Dave Yeager.
Kyle, you just said something off the air.
Devastating language, and not that last highlight, but the one before from G-Man. Can we roll that again?
Let's roll it. Say what you're going to say, and then I want to roll it.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed from G-Man here is a real shot to the gut.
It's 39-36, and Anthony Towns is going to try to tie it up, and he does. My goodness. Sacramento has just been so disappointing in the last 3 minutes of this second quarter. Turnovers have been killer. They've turned it over 5 times in the first 5.5 minutes of this quarter.
Imagine G-Man telling you that he's disappointed in your performance.
I would cry. I would start crying.
I would too.
I would start crying immediately. If G-Man was like, Dave, I was listening to the show today. That's your best effort. I would hang
disappointing.
Up just tears.
Oh.
Tears. I would go grab my teddy bear and rock back and forth. About an hour. Just thinking about life and how much I hate it. Kings were hating life last night when Derrick Rose hit this three.
There's Rose going for three. Scores it. Timeout, Sacramento. After all that hard work, they cut it to 8. They're back down by 16. It's 86-70.
Yeah, no matter how far the Kings were out, and I think it's a testament to so many of their comebacks the cardiac Kings have had this year. But you felt like, as a fan, or at least I did, that it was never over. They hung around and they hung around. Marvin Bagley brought him within 4 with this three.
Bagley from Bogey. Pulls up. 12-footer in the lane. Too strong. No good. Rebounded by Barnes. Wraparound pass to Fox. Swings to Bagley. Bagley shoots the three and he scores the triple. I was about to admonish him because Bogey was standing 6 feet from him wide open on the right wing. But Marvin Bagley hits it. It's a 4-point game. It's 108-104. 2:50 and counting in the fourth quarter.
Karl Anthony Towns had 5 fouls for a decent portion of the second half of the fourth, but they couldn't quite get him out. Minnesota was giving the Kings ample opportunity towards the end to grab this game, and there were just some shots that didn't fall. You had some untimely turnovers. As a matter of fact, the Kings on the night, speaking of turnovers, Kings had 19 turnovers on the evening, but the Timberwolves had 22. It was right there. Derrick Rose clinched it with this shot.
The far side to Derrick Rose, the veteran against Bogey. Shakes, pulls up, 22-footer on the way, scores it. The lights are dimming. It's 112-105, only 29 seconds to go. Huge basket from Derrick Rose, who now has 20 points in the ballgame.
G-Man knew that the writing was on the wall. It was all but over.
Timberwolves fans come to their feet. They've kept their hopes alive for getting into the playoff mix, and the Sacramento Kings experience a terribly disappointing night. Final score is 112-105.
Terribly disappointing.
Yeah, it's funny. I know nobody wants to hear this, but imagine imagine at the beginning of the year a loss by 7 points at the end of a 3-game and 5-night road trip where you lost to a team that's 29-31, 20-10 at home as an incredibly disappointing loss. That wasn't like a last-second buzzer beater or something like that. Just kind of shows you how far the team has come. That everyone expected this game to be a Kings victory. Everybody but Vegas. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. I'm not trying to go back and be like, oh, I told you it was a trap game, because trap game's a little. You
can't quantify it.
No, you can't quantify
just like
it.
A guess.
But this was your prototypical. We got up for Denver. We got up for Golden State. We got up for Oklahoma City. It's the end of a road trip. We're going into literally the Arctic Circle, and we're playing a team. By the way, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 2 games behind the Sacramento Kings now. 3 games out of the playoffs. So it's not like they played the Suns and lost to the Suns. Nobody wants to hear that. And it doesn't take away from the fact that the loss sucked. And I think they're a better team than Minnesota. And I think they beat them on a neutral field court.
I agree with you. Something that we're going to have to get into eventually. And maybe you don't want to get into it now, but I think it's relevant. We talked about, the Kings have made so many runs at the end of games. And last night I kept waiting for that run to happen, and I kept waiting for Buddy Hield to hit a shot.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't in.
Couldn't.
Well,
he was on the bench.
We're going to spend plenty of time on that. And it's tough because you get labeled, when people are used to voices, they tend to label those. And you'll remember at the beginning of the year, 3-17, I was negative Nancy. We talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night I'm positive,
Pete.
Pete, thank you.
Positive Nancy.
Positive Nancy. And then, all year long, for the most part, I've had Dave Yeager's back. Well, I had some issues with how Dave Yeager coached last night. The problem is when I say that, see, I told you, he's terrible. No, I'm talking about last night's game. And I think it's disingenuous, regardless of how you feel. If I think Dave Yeager's doing a great job, I'm going to say that, and I think he's done a great job.
Uh-huh.
If he doesn't, you got to point that out.
Not immune from questions or criticism.
At all.
Every coach, the Kings could hire Greg Popovich, and there would be questions about his rotations.
Yes. There have been.
Those same people would have questioned the early 2000 Spurs as to why Manu wasn't starting. And Manu Ginobili put together a Hall of Fame career as a six-man.
Yeah, he was pretty good. 339-1140, 1-800-912-1140. Flavio, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy? What's going on, fellas? So, man, I mean, put it like this. Last night I was watching that game, I'm actually yelling at the TV. I mean, this is a good feeling. This is a good feeling to know that I'm actually excited about my team. We should have won that one last night. My wife was wondering, like, why are you yelling at I'm like, if we win this game, it really does help us out a lot. And so I'm like, this is a good feeling. I mean, I'm actually watching, who's playing against the other teams. I mean, this is a feeling we haven't had in a very long time. And so I'm excited. I mean, for all the, other fans that are out there that are, hey, Yaker this and come on, man, let's wake up. A true Kings fan understands where we were, where we're at, where we're going. We're young. We're building. And, I mean, I would love for us to just keep winning. But, hey, sometimes, hey, we should have won that. But, even last night, they look kind of like, like, I don't know if it was because it's so cold. I don't know. You tell me, my man. Tell me.
Well, I know it wasn't cold inside the arena, even though it was literally 0 degrees. G-Man was talking about on the radio broadcast at one point. They said it was 1 degree. I looked at the weather at the time. It was 0, and that's without wind chill. But that doesn't affect in the arena. I think Minnesota came out, and I think Kings were sloppy. I think Kings were missing shots. Were the Kings a little worn down at the end of the road trip? Probably. Did Karl Anthony Towns abuse Willie Cauley-Stein and every other big they threw in there? Yeah. It's tough to say anything because it sounds like an excuse. The Kings lost last night. They lost. It sucked. And now that's another one they got to steal. They got to steal one now. But the playoff push is not over. We did not come to a halt last night.
Still very much on.
Just a little bump in the road. We'll take a break. When we come back, I also need to look at Willie Cauley-Stein's monthly production, by the way. I was just looking at that. Yeah. The Raiders, looks like they've got a home next year. Former San Francisco 49er, former Oakland Raider, was released yesterday.
Jerry Rice?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. And we have
Carlos Rogers.
I'm burying this in this segment.
Terrell Brown, whichever one played for the
segment.
Raiders.
Michael Crabtree, you spoiled it.
Oh.
We'll give you a Bob Kraft update.
Navarro Bowman.
No, not a receiver. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Raiders, Bob Kraft, Michael Crabtree. What could go wrong?
Rod Streeter.
Nope. Next on the drive, Sports 1140 KHTK.
The best morning show on KHTK. The drive continues now.
Did I see that the Lowdown is going to start their video cast this Friday?
You did.
Copycats did first.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun video cast to watch.
They're going to do a really good job.
They're going to do a very good job at that. Did I also hear, I'm going to sound stupid here because it's probably a bit and I'm dumb, but did I hear right? They got a Jim Rome voiced rejoiner.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Well, I guess at the boss man meeting that Jason went to.
Uh-huh.
He just hung out with Jim Rome.
Hung out with Rome and he did got
a drop.
And that's the problem. That's why a lot of radio guys get mad at the boss. It's kind of a conflict of interest when you got the boss on a show.
Yeah.
Where's ours? Hey, Jay, where's our drop? Only Grant can get a drop whenever he wants from Jim Rome. That's his guy.
We can do a Tim Rome one if you want.
You know what? Kyle, 2 things. Number 1, when I was watching that clip of the Lowdown, I had to listen to it 4 times because I honestly thought they got you to do one.
No, stop.
I swear to God.
My voice is not that close to Rome.
Right. And then I listened. I'm like, no. That's really Jim Rome.
Yeah.
Secondly, that's a great idea. We don't need a Jim Rome drop. We'll get a Tim Rome rejoiner. Let's cut that today. I'll put it together. Maybe I'll even put it with some Rome specific rejoin music. Grab one of his songs. Grab some Iggy Pop. Like Grant's like the vice Jim Rome.
He really is.
So he can get a drop whenever he wants. I'm just saying, Jason. How about you? Come on. What's up? If I was hanging out with Jim Rome all weekend, I would have gotten you a drop. Probably
no, you wouldn't. You for sure would not have.
Would not at all. Okay, how do I segue out of that? Welcome into the drive.
Segues are weird.
Let me get. Oh, now we're talking about Let's get to speaking of Tim, not Tim Rome, other Tim. Hello, Tim.
That's right. Hi, Dave.
Hey, buddy.
Dave, I just want to thank you so much. I just love you so much. I hope if I ever meet you, I don't creep you out because I like you. I love the way you threw your sister's Lakers shirt in the garbage, man. That stuff.
I had to go. I mailed out 2 overly large shirts for her because she likes to wear these shirts. It was a night shirt she had. If you missed it, I found she had a Lakers shirt. I threw it in the garbage at LAX. I got to replace it now with 2 Kings shirts. I'm happy to do that. Tim, if I ever see you in person, you come up, you give me a big. I'm gonna give you a big hug, Tim.
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Right.
You're a big part of my life. But what I want to say, and if I can get this out,
of course.
I love the Kings so much, and the way they played last night was how I kind of expected my season to go. And the way they showed up, I just looked at them and went, that's really my team. And they've really been outplaying themselves out of their mind. And getting to watch our little boy Marvin Bagley grow up in front of our eyes is the most beautiful thing. And I just love him. And the fact that we're worried about them getting into the playoffs and having this level of excitement is just beyond. And I just love it. And that's all I really wanted to say. And I love you guys. I wish I had something clever to say.
Love you, Tim.
You don't need to say anything clever. We love you too, Tim. Hey, babe. I've actually got some response to what Tim said about Marvin Bagley. Tony Expecteris, I never know how to say his name, from Sacktown Royalty, put out some interesting numbers a few minutes ago. Karl Anthony Towns versus the Kings last night, the big men. Against Willie Cauley-Stein, 22 possessions, 16 points, 75% from the field. Against Harry Giles, 22 possessions, 9 points, 67% from the field. Against Marvin Bagley, 15 possessions, 2 points, 0% from the field. That's very, 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 very interesting. 22 possessions against Willie, 75% from the field and 16 points. 22 possessions against Giles, 9 points, 67% from the field for Karl Anthony Towns. 15 possessions against Marvin Bagley, 2 points, 0% from the field. It's very interesting.
Extremely interesting.
It is a lot of interesting.
Leading me to believe that Marvin Bagley can, in fact, play center.
Oh!
Science!
You just scienced the you-know-what out of that.
Yeah, you got scienced.
The Oakland Raiders announced they will play in Oakland next year. They have come to an agreement with the Oakland Alameda County Authority, whatever the heck it is. And I'm so glad we're at the end of this segment, Kyle, because I wouldn't feel like I would feel disingenuous if I didn't include this at some point, which is why I'm burying it at 6:55. But I can say we talked about it. Everybody, I'm a dad. If you have kids in the car, just turn down the radio for about a minute, please. I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. We're going to talk about Robert Kraft here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Robert Kraft has been charged on 2 counts of first-degree solicitation. According to this report, Colin, I know we got to go here. He actually went to the massage parlor the morning of the AFC Championship game, then flew out to watch the game in Kansas City later that day. I think maybe the most disturbing part is sex slaves being brought over from other countries. The second most disturbing part, Kyle, according to these documents, Robert Kraft was videotaped receiving, I'm not going to say these words out loud, but different methods of things that happened. It's on tape, according to these documents. Of course, he denied any wrongdoing. but the documents say it's on tape, I feel like somebody's lying.
He categorically denied
it. What's the defense there going to be? Was it a stunt Kraft? Was there a stunt? Wasn't the real Bob Kraft?
The stunt Bob.
Stunt Bob. Yeah. God. We'll take a break. I want to talk about that.
How did he pull that off?
He didn't, Kyle. That's the problem. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's not funny. Kings fall to Minnesota. We'll get you an update on the playoff seeding. Let's get into Buddy Hield and Dave Yeager. We have comments from them, and we'll take your phone calls at 339-1140. Back in a couple minutes. Sports 1140 KHTK.